Welcome back guys to Brazen and Bold Productions, and today I'm going to show you how to create awesome gold paint jobs for your cosplays, props and costumes. So let's get started. You're going to need a rattle can of black spray paint, flat, as well as black acrylic color, just the cheap kind that you can get pretty much anywhere, as well as sienna, gold, bronze, as well as a darker shade of brown that I will use an airbrush color for this goal, but you can use acrylic colors or what you can get, and another slightly different type of bronze that I'm going to use with the airbrush as well. As for tools, I'm going to use my trusty Iwata Eclipse airbrush, as well as our just plain old brush. If you can get the softer kind like I have here, you can use this one. It's really soft, but to create like scratches and edges, it's better to use a tougher brush. Okay, so you've primed your prop and now it's ready to start. We are using a flat black just out of the rattle can for both pieces, and this is just to give us a nice base on which to create our gold color. Okay, now we have loaded some of this very dark brown into our airbrush. It's already thinned down. And I'm just going to start with, so this is going to be a bit loud, I hope you can hear me fine. Anyways, I'm going to create small patterns. So I'm not looking for a complete coverage of the prop, I'm just looking to create small brown splotches everywhere. Leave some space between and leave it black, and just create some structure. This is going to help us create the gold color that we need afterwards. Next up, take out your palette or whatever working surface you like. Take your sienna, just your sienna. Add a little bit onto the surface, and then we're going to dry brush some of that onto our soon-to-be golden surface. So we're really looking for a very thin coat of color here. So just really rub it off, and in the end it should look something like this. So it should leave just a little bit of color, not too much. And just go over your piece on some parts. At this point, at this stage, it's not really important. Just it should create interesting textures, and so you're going to be able to just work up from there. Here I created a bit too much. You can wipe that away with your finger or with a cloth, which would be much more advisable, but I am not a smart person. And yeah, just continue doing that, and I'll see you in a second. So at this point, you're probably asking yourself, oh god, Matt, how am I ever going to create a gold color out of this mess? And that's a very valid question, and my answer to it is shut up and listen and watch to the end of the video. What we have created here is just the underlying structure that is going to be barely seen but relevant beneath our gold. And as for gold, a small just tidbit of my information is that what most people perceive as gold is actually more akin to a bronze color than it is actual gold. Because if you're going to look at this, this is gold color. Just simple gold color. And to give you an idea, maybe an even better idea is, I will put the airbrush away for a second, is this is bronze and this is gold, just by comparison. And you see that gold is actually kind of yellowy, and it doesn't look that good on props. So I will show you my method that is You will not create perfect gold colors with this, but you will create something that looks like gold with my method. Okay, back at work, I will use my airbrush to create a very thin coat of bronze color on top of the pre-existing structure that we created before. I will use Tamiya bronze coloring for this, but for the sake of people that don't have the privilege of owning an airbrush or just want to try this at home in their own method, I'm going to recreate the same procedure with a brush, and let's just get started. It's gonna get loud again, so don't worry, but I will show you the end result soon. Just a very thin, not too thick layer of bronze coloring on top of it. There you have it. A little bit of bronze coloring gives it that nice, metallic sheen. And just to top that off, I'm going to show you how to create that same look using a just regular brush. I'm using the bronze color I was showing before. It is this one, in case you were wondering. And I'm going to dry brush. So dry brushing is, for those that don't know, is taking a little bit of color onto your brush and just rubbing it on a surface until the color on your brush is very thin and just leaves little traces of color, not big splashes of color, just small traces. And I'm going to gently, guys and girls, brush it over our prop. Gently brushing it. Just gently brushing it. Just giving it a very thin layer, just a hint of bronze. And man, doesn't that look pretty already. I hope you can see this. I will show this color in the color I'm creating, the paint job I'm creating, in different light settings at the end of the video. So hopefully you'll be able to see, as well as I see right now, how pretty that looks. And as I was saying, just quick strokes, soft strokes, and a little bit more bronze. It's something you get used to. Dry brushing is really easy, but it just needs a little bit of practice. You need to know how much paint you load onto your brush, how soft you brush it, and it really depends on the effect you're trying to create. Sorry, I'm rambling. And that's about it. Hope you can see it. And on to the next step. Okay, for the next step, we're going to need the same bronze we've used to dry brush in the step before, but we're going to use it on both pieces now. And up until now, we used the airbrush. We did a little bit of dry brushing and we just splotched some sienna on that. But now we're going to need to be a bit more delicate, so we're going to take a little bit of that bronze color and just gently, I'll show it here, just gently disperse it a little bit on your palette. And we're not looking to dry brush here, we're looking to create small dots onto the existing color. So this will look like small flakes of bronze on our surface, and dry brushing it would be another possibility, but we want more texture on it, so I will just take my brush and gently dab small areas of bronze onto the existing color. So this might look a little bit brutish, but trust me when I tell you this is going to create one of the best gold effects or metallic effects that you can get. It's a bit time consuming, that's true. So this might be a lot of effort to put into a whole armor, but you can pretty much repeat this step with bigger brushes or even rattle cans to some degree, which would help you create large areas of paint. And already you can see that it's changed the surface. I don't know if you can see it, but for me, from my perspective, it's pretty obvious. It creates a more defined metallic look and gives it more character. So this is definitely no flat gold we're going to create. It's going to be a used gold. It's going to be a used metallic surface. And I will do the rest off camera, but I will show you just quickly on how to create the same effect on a not flat surface like these wings. Here I'm going to just try to stay away from the deep crevices here, because I want to create a little bit of more shadow here. So I'm going to stay on the edge of the wings. And if you have too much color on one point, don't worry, you can wipe some of it off with your finger or with a wet napkin and just create small dots here and there of bronze. This is still bronze we're using, so don't worry, we're going into the gold very soon. Thank you if you're still with us, or with me, I don't care. Okay. The next step is really easy, guys. We're going to repeat the same step, the same process we did with the bronze before, now with the gold. So this is now a gold color, and we're going to try to use even less color than we did before. So just spread some of the gold onto your palette. You can use the same brush as before. I clean it in between steps, but if a little bit of bronze is left on it, just don't worry about it. It's gonna look fine anyway. And as before, leave a little bit of color on the brush. It shouldn't be dripping wet, but you should be able to create easy marks on your paint job, on your prop, and not really push it around too much. And with the gold, be even more delicate than with the bronze. You don't want to overpower it, since the gold has a very yellowish character, a very yellowish type of color. And I'm just gonna dab some areas of the prop, not all of them, with that gold, and to really highlight the bronze we already put on there, and it should really stick out. The gold should really stick out. The gold should be the exception on this paint job. It shouldn't be the norm. I know we're talking about a gold paint job, but trust me on this one, I am a trained professional. I'm sorry. I hope the camera isn't too wonky. I'm just going to show you now, and I hope that you can see it. I only see the reflection of the camera on the backside, so I hope this is fine. And really don't be too greedy with the gold. If you want, you can brush the edges. This is going to help us to make the highlights later on. Just you can brush the gold onto the edges a little bit and just leave it there, and that's gonna do it. Yeah. This is not creepy at all. We are nearing the end of our paint job, and now it's time to dirty up the whole thing and bring all those colors together, because now we added all those little dots. We added some dry brushing here. We added some highlights already with the dry brushing process. And now we need to bring it all together, because it looks kind of painted on, which is kind of ironic, I know. But there's a simple step to solve that. And that is called, we're going to shade or to wash it with some black wash. As you can see, it's a very thinned down black acrylic color that I just thinned down with a lot of water, and it's going to create a transparent sheen of black color. And what this is going to do is it's going to create shadows in the recesses of the prop. I'm just going to, it's nothing to be too worried about, because we're gonna clean up most of it anyways, and I'm just gonna brush it on everything. Be mindful, just push a little bit more of the color into the recesses, into the hollow bits of the prop, and for the open surface, just go nuts. Just do whatever. See, be careful and just see that you push it into the nooks and crannies, and just go whole hog on it and just have fun with it. And then we're going to trying to clean away some of it, and I will show you how in a second. Okay, so now this is where things get interesting. I will take just some rolled up piece of napkin, paper, cloth, and just dab away at that black wash, and be careful to leave some of it in the deeper parts of your project. And depending on how dark or on how grimy you want your gold to look, you can leave more or less of this. But as you can see, it has already flown into or just funneled into the lower parts of the build. And as for the large surface, this is actually another way we can create structure in our paint job by leaving some of this black wash on top of it. But for this purpose, I'm going to clear away most of it and just leave it here along the ridges and in the crevices. And that's about it. And we will leave this to dry for a couple of minutes. You might say, but this doesn't look very goldish at all. It has the kind of gold color, but it lacks something. And you would probably be right. That's why we're going to give this thing one more highlight, and then it's done. And for this highlight, we're going to use, hold your horses, we're going to use real gold color. So for you, for those at home that don't know, you can get this amazing gold wax color. You can get it from Bella Rowney, or you can get it from Rub and Buff, and this will help you kick your project in its or hers reproductive areas, and just really give it that nice gold finish that we're looking for. So we're going to take a little bit of this gold color. I will use my finger for this purpose. As you can see, it's very bright, and I'm going to spread it a little bit on a surface beforehand. And you can use your finger or your brush or Q-tips or whatever you have. And then, see? No, I thought I screwed up. And I'm giving you the money shot here because this is gorgeous. Look at it. Look at it. Oh, yeah. I know you didn't want to hear that in my voice, but I don't care. And this, my dear friends, is what really sets this apart. Because now you have the sharp edges, you have the perfect gold finish for your edges, and it's just gorgeous. And this, you can go overboard with this if you want to, but I really try to stick to the edges. And since it's wax color, you should use it at the end, because it doesn't work well with other colors. So on top of it, because those might slid off and yeah, become not that nice. And there you have it, gold coloring. And for those at home who don't own this amazing product, I will show you how you can achieve the same, or at least a very close resemblance to that look, with our regular gold acrylic color. You just take that color and don't care about the surface anymore, so I will just show it right in front of you. I will just load some of the color onto our brush. Try to keep it to a regular, not too heavy level, so just a little bit of color onto your brush, and then just go over the raised parts, which are the higher standing parts of your prop, and just brush it gently with gold. And also here as well, don't go overboard. You just want that gold color a little bit on the most dominant parts. And like the tips of these wings. I really don't care too much about soft brushes now. I really want that gold color in there good. So I just really brush it on. And that finishing touch is what brings it all home, ladies and gents. And we present to you gold coloring a la Brazen and Bold Productions. And because this is a cool tripod that I'm using here on my painting surface, on my Lazy Susan, I'm able to show you the gold color in different lighting conditions. And maybe a bit closer to the camera. You see those edges, you see the raised parts, you see those little flecks, you see the structure. And it's gorgeous. It's a bit of work, I freely admit that, and this is part of my obsessive nature. I just really like my gold painted this way. You can do it easier if you want to. You can just use a gold rattle can and then just wash it with black wash and create a sort of similar look, but the brown tones on the underneath and the bronze really brings this home and creates a stunning, interesting looking and easy to make gold paint job. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed talking to you, and for now I leave you with a friendly goodbye. And because this is a new camera setting, I will try to squeeze my head under here and say goodbye. Goodbye. Have a nice evening or day or whatever. Bye.
And if you don't know, now you know.